Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm back to talk about Legacies, episode 416, titled I Wouldn't Be Standing Here If It Weren't For You, which premiered Thursday, April 28th, 2022 on the CW. It's been a couple hours since the episode has aired. Currently, the West Coast is airing it right now. But I did want to get my thoughts out before I went to bed tonight. So, huge spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the episode already, please go do so first, and then come back to what I have to say about the episode. My other video reminders are up on screen, so take a moment to remind yourselves of those. Also, just a huge thank you to everyone who saw my previous video. Truly appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day just to hear what I have to say. YouTube shoutouts to Golden Angel 15 and In the Games 123 for their own comments and theories they left on that previous video. Truly appreciate it, guys. And also that for the continued return, I guess I would say. So just thank you to everybody for taking the time out of your day, because it gets a little tricky trying to talk about a show when you don't know anybody in person who watches the show or who isn't caught up with the show. That's the tricky thing there. So take this video as a time to get my thoughts out, and it's always interesting when I revisit them, saying like, oh, that's what I thought about it. You know, in hindsight, when you watch a few episodes later and such. But anyways, let's get right into this. Am I going to do this in 20 minutes? I don't know. That'll be the huge test for me to take. But let's get right. Also, is it just me, or are these titles getting a lot longer than before? I kind of miss back in the Vampire Diaries originals days where the titles weren't quotes. I know they probably started that when the Vampire Diaries final season started, but now they're just getting really long, and I don't know. Side note there, but let's get right into what happened in this episode. So, speaking of the episode quote, I wouldn't be standing here if it weren't for you, is said by MG to Ethan, who is technically supposed to be in the shower during the scene, and MG's like talking through a door about it. It happens closer to the end of the episode, which was kind of surprising for me. But anyways, there's that. Timeline wise, I'm going to say it shortly after the events of 415. Especially maybe like the morning after, because the end of 415 was when Hope woke up in control of her own body, but yet she could still see Dark Hope. I'm going to call her Dark Hope now instead of No Humanity Hope. Still being around, but only she could see. So this episode, the first time we see her, it looked like it was the morning time, and it was MG's turn to give her the morning blood bag, I'm assuming. And that's the first time anyone got to see her being back in control of her body. So that's why I think it's shortly after, possibly the next day from where 415 ended. Huge episode reminder I'm going to say is we get the introduction of Ken, the father of the gods, in the present day. We only have seen him so far in flashbacks or during battle simulations. So there's that. Not really a feature creature in this episode. I'm not going to count the necromancer. He was only in like one scene. So let's move right into storylines. We got 3 different storylines that I picked up on. First one being dealing with the consequences. Second, Ken's arrival. And third, who is the thief in limbo. So with the first storyline, 1 and 2 are kind of still tied together, but let's start with the first one being dealing with the consequences. And this one focuses more on Hope and Lizzie, as they both have to deal with their own consequences of what they did away from the school, as well as helping each other try to figure out how to deal with those consequences of their actions. With Hope having her humanity off, and with Lizzie teaming up with Aurora, which led to the release of Ken indirectly. So we have, in the end, Lizzie helping Hope get rid of Dark Hope's presence by locking it in a box and transforming it into something beautiful. It's something she learned as a kid, I believe from Emma's, who she said it was, and Hope was able to, I guess, free herself from her darker half, or her no humanity half. Also, during this section, we have Lizzie admitting that to Hope that her bitchy attitude towards Hope in the past wasn't because she hated Hope, but it was because she idolized Hope and had worried that Hope would never want to be her friend. So to save her the pain of that rejection, she chose to push Hope away instead. So, a moment of bonding to show Lizzie's understanding of why maybe Hope was clinging on to Dark Hope instead of it being Dark Hope trying to cling on to humanity hope. So that was a good bit of part there. So once they are able to deal with that, they're able to join in on storyline 2, which is with Ken's arrival, aka the father of the gods' arrival. I really don't like the name Ken. Like I said before, it's too similar to Ben, too similar to Jen. All the gods just have two very one syllable sounding names. But anyways, with Ken's arrival, we have the Super Squad evacuating Mystic Falls to reduce the amount of casualties. We have Cleo trying to interpret her visions as a new oracle, deemed by Jen, who was able to label her as such, stating that an oracle has visions that always come true, but if an oracle tries to change those visions, they become something else, which I guess we might see a little bit of later, because that's what Cleo ends up doing. She tries to change the outcome of her death visions. So there's that. One of them being that Ben tries to distract the Super Squad by bringing chaos into the town square, so that Ken could get to the school and get his daughter Jen a lot easier. But instead, Jen, see, now I'm mixing up names. Okay, Ben the demigod is helping his father Ken, who's trying to get his traitor's daughter Jen, who's at the school. Don't know how they found out that she was at the school, but maybe it's another god thing. But when Ben is trying to bring the Super Squad to him in the town square, Jedediah, the werewolf, runs interference to keep Ben distracted while the rest of the Super Squad get to safety from Ben. Okay, that was hard. Meanwhile, once that happens, Hope puts everyone who stayed behind at the school under a sleeping spell so that she and Lizzie could take on Ken together. In the end, they kind of get their asses kicked, and his daughter Jen surrenders herself to him, and he takes her away in a lightning travel. Yeah, which I'm pretty sure is meant to be their subtle way of saying that Ken is meant to be this world's version of Zeus. So, yeah. Wonder if anything else. I mean, we technically saw Jen fly in the first episode. We saw her. So I guess maybe they all just travel somehow differently. So, there's that. So we have Lizzie, who is, after that whole fight, we have Lizzie that is slowly healing, but Hope has not woken up just yet. And we'll get back to that in a moment. With the third storyline, with Limbo, we have Landon finding out that the big thief that Zed is worried about stealing coins from is actually Landon's mother, Selah. And she's known for a while that Landon has been in limbo, but she's kind of been a little bit afraid to reunite with him. But the episode focuses on Landon helping Selah try to find her peace so that she could get her gold coin. Even though she thinks she doesn't deserve peace, Landon was able to get her to that point. And that leads into the last scene of the episode, with Landon waving goodbye to his mother as she travels along off to peace with the ferryman. He is reunited with Hope, and they hug in limbo. We'll talk about Hope in a moment being in limbo. But let's move on to characters. So with Ben, we find him confessing to Jedediah that he freed his father so that he could claim the boon that his father would grant, because he wanted to use the boon to lift his curse. Not sure if he said that the curse was already lifted, or if it was promised to be lifted after Jen was apprehended. So not sure about what his curse status is just yet. He also wanted Jed to come with him and have Ken lift Jed's own curse, but instead Jed kind of sticks with the Super Squad and kind of snaps Ben's neck so that he can keep him restrained during the fight. So there's that. Also, though, we have Ben claiming to love Jed, which he doesn't believe, due to Ben betraying everybody. And as Jed says, love means that you fight alongside the ones you care for, not against them. So it's like they barely had a moment of good times together, and already they're at odds. So it's like rough seas ahead for these two. with Jed though, solo side note is that he said he has a huge interest in mythology is very hinted at that it is due to Ben, but I'm not sure if did Jed show mythological interest in Ben. I don't know if he said specifically Greek mythology or not, because like technically the Vampire Diaries has its own mythology to begin with, so I don't know what kind of a mythology buff he is. Or if he was that before Ben came into the picture and actually became part of mythology. But that was a little something there for Jed. With Lizzie, though, we did find out that she does not have the brand linking her to Aurora anymore. And Lizzie explains that the only reason that would happen would be if A, Aurora found a way to break it, like kind of like undo the spell, or if B, the terms of that deal that created the brand were met, aka the god in question was raised. Like they had both agreed to do together. So Lizzie is no longer in trouble or no longer in danger of betraying Aurora and ultimately killing herself because of it. So we know that Lizzie's good from that. So if now we can see Aurora and Lizzie possibly fighting each other without the deal killing them, but I really hope they could still be on the same side, hopefully. But yeah, there's that. So let's move on to tidbits very quickly. Finch is mentioned once again, and yet she's not shown. It was said that she was tasked to help evacuate the school. I mean, at this point, like stop just name dropping her. Like I would actually like to see her. Like you always mention that she's doing wolf business and stuff for Jed, but at the same time, it's like I kind of want to see what that wolf business is, you know? But yeah, she's not shown. Wade's not even mentioned at all in this episode, so that's something there. We see Alaric trying to work on his communication with Lizzie, trying to take on a new approach than before all this chaos happened, and Lizzie actually takes notice that like something's different. We also have Lizzie realizing that instead of trying to get everyone to understand her motives for what she did, which is what she was trying to do in this beginning of the episode, by the end of it, she realizes that she just needs to apologize and work on what she can do for people in order for them to forgive her, to help her atone, instead of just forcing people to understand where she was coming from and just like take it kind of a thing. So that's some growth there. But let's move on to shocking moments. What was the shocking moment of the episode for me? I would have to say it was Hope actually facing off against Ken in this episode. I know we saw bits of it in the trailer for the episode, but I thought like maybe it was like future visions or something, or like it was a premonition, or like some kind of like nasty dream. I didn't think Hope would actually face off against Ken in this episode. Like in episode 16 out of a 20 episode season, I thought this face off with Ken would be more like either in episode 19 or 20, like the climax of the season itself. So that was a bit of a surprise there. Because that's what we've been gearing up towards for the last few episodes, right? Or at least for the last 6 episodes, I believe, right? So there's that. But let's move on to favorite moments. I really could only pick up on 2 big ones, but like the first one kind of has a lot of subpoints in it, so I'll let it slide that I only got 2. The first one having to be Hope and Lizzie. It's very interesting to see both of them not only kind of like at each other's throats, but then also to help each other realize what the source of the issue is, and helping each other understand what was actually happening when they couldn't piece it together. Is like, so it's like that was very interesting to see that growth, especially since it's been a while since it was Humanity Hope talking to Lizzie. So that was a great change. You can also see a distinct difference now. I also noticed that when regular Hope talks, it seemed like it was a lot more quieter or softer in comparison to the harshness of Dark Hope's tone and voice. So that was pretty interesting there. I also really like that Hope was able to bring up her father a lot more. She mentioned finally his name, Klaus Michelson, that he stood for family, and like really calling back to like really what her father stood for. And it was just great that that's how she kind of introduced herself when it came to facing Ken. So I really appreciate that, especially since the last episode was the whole big Michelson family reunion. So That's something that I really liked. I also actually liked in the scenes where we got to see Hope and Dark Hope kind of like sharing the screen together. It was actually like a lot, it was shown a lot better. Like it wasn't as obvious that it was like a CGI thing that was going on like it has in the previous episodes. It could be just be that the more episodes they do it, the more times they do it, they've gotten like more used to it, or they gotten a little more familiar with how to do it, and make it seem like seamless and such. So I did appreciate that. Um, it did seem a little bit more believable this time, and also that I was able to actually tell the difference. Hope changing her clothes from Dark Hope was really helpful to be able to distinguish who was who, because sometimes it was tricky when you're just jumping between the two. So that I was really really glad to see that. The second big favorite I really liked was just Landon's words to his mother, uh, which what ultimately helped her get her peace. I really like that. It was kind of like he needed to say this piece for himself, just to say like he was good. Everything that she did, she like he understood where she was coming from, and like gaining true perspective on his life and everything. He also just really likes his whole helping people find peace business that he's got going on in Limbo. I feel like out of all the characters, Landon's probably shown the most uh, self reflection about his life, and has tried to actually make the situation better. So I found that very interesting that even in Limbo, where like people could be very dreary and stuck on the fact that like I can't move forward, he's actually trying to make the best of it, and he's actually happy there. So I thought that was a nice change to have from Landon, and it was really great to see that he got to spend more time with his mom, and that the necromancer was not trying to like be the third wheel on that. So it's just great to see that he actually got to spend that time, because yeah. Also, I was kind of confused though, because he told her that he only remembered her after Josie had done that dark spell that allowed everybody to remember what was forgotten from Malivore. Wasn't it that like Landon still remembered his mom after she jumped into the pit? Like Hope obviously remembered her, but like I thought Landon also remembered his mom after she jumped into the pit as well, because like he still knew who, like that was my impression. Like maybe I was wrong, but I just thought it was because he was a phoenix, and that's why he was, and also because he was Malivor's kid, and that's why he might have been able to remember her. But maybe not. Maybe I misremembered it. I don't know. But like when he told her that, I kind of threw me. I was like, wait, what? But yeah, so there's that. But let's move on to peeved moments. I really only had the one peeve, and that was the fact that we kind of only saw part of the battle simulation taking place when it was Hope and Lizzie teaming up to face off against Ken. We kind of don't see the part about the rest of the Super Squad kind of coming in and teaming in to help out, or teaming up to help them. So I'm kind of a little annoyed, because now it's like we were told that this big battle simulation thing that they ended up winning on, like that's what we were told, like yeah, that's the way they're going to win, and then we kind of see half of it, a huge part of it already taking place, and it kind of fails. So it's like, well, now what are they going to do? Like, was I misled, or like what was going on? So that's something there. Now the big one, huge questions or random questions, so many questions after this. I don't know if it's because we had a week break from Legacies and I'm just having more questions, or it's just from how the episode ended. I don't know. But first question, why did Hope end up in limbo in the end? Did she actually die from her encounter with Ken, or was she just unconscious due to exhaustion, or were her injuries a lot more extreme? Because I thought she was just knocked out from all the heavy hits and stuff, right? Right? Or, and then I got to thinking right after the episode ended, is it possible that that was Dark Hope that was reuniting with Landon due to her clothes? But then I got to thinking, like, did Hope change again before she went off against Ken? And maybe that's why her clothes are now different. But then I'm like thinking, but like, I got very Dark Hope vibes when she was hugging Landon. They didn't seem to be like this emotional uh uh reaction. It just seemed like she was hiding the lack of reaction in the hug. So that's why I'm kind of like, could it be Dark Hope? Because like when her and Lizzie transformed it into a butterfly and then Hope burned it, is like you kind of killing it. So like, did she technically kill Dark Hope? I don't know. That'd be interesting if it ended up being Dark Hope in Landon. That'd be something, right? Next question. Will there be consequences for Lizzie trying to siphon power from a god? He did say that it took him many years to control his powers, and he did tell her, be careful what you wish for. So I'm thinking maybe she might have a bit more. Like, I thought maybe she might have weakened him before he kind of took on Hope by himself after he kind of impaled Lizzie in a gate. But then maybe like she might have some of his powers for a few more days after. I don't know. I hope so, because then maybe they could find a way to learn more about what he can do. But yeah, I'm hoping there will be consequences, because like that's a lot of power, right? Because I'm also thinking back to like season 6 of the Vampire Diaries when Kai absorbed all that magic in Mystic Falls that was surrounding it. He had a lot of power for. He had a lot of stored up energy inside of him for quite a few days after that, right? So it's got to be something similar to this, for at least for Lizzie, right? That's a lot of power. So next question: what is Cleo turning into if she is no longer an oracle? Which was also very short lived. Is there anything in mythology about the oracle being something else or turning into something else, or like as a punishment of something? I don't know. I'm very tempted to look it up, but then I kind of don't, because I don't want to spoil myself. But I'm kind of wondering, was there? I don't know. For some reason, Medusa comes to mind, but I don't think so. It's been a very long time since I had to study up on Greek mythology. I don't know, but what could she be turning into? Interesting. All right. Last question. What is happening to Ethan? At the end of the episode, we see him kind of collapsing. He was definitely blood from his mouth. It looked like he was spitting up something really weird too. It was all over the floor, and then he wasn't able to keep shape. He was kind of like disappearing in MG's arms, and to the point where like MG was kind of like he was turning invisible, or he was at least disappearing. So I'm wondering, what is the cause of that? Could that be a consequence to Cleo changing her vision that saved Caleb? Or is it something else that's causing Ethan to react in such a way? Because also, like, what did he do? It's not like he didn't get hit. He didn't get hurt badly by Ben. He wasn't even touched. It was Caleb that got touched. That was Caleb that got injured. So it's like, what happened to Ethan? Because like he was pretty unscathed, and I don't think Hope's sleeping spell would have affected Ethan. Or maybe it's whatever creature half that he is. Maybe that's what might have been affected. I have no idea. It seemed very out of the blue, because I would have expected if Ethan was injured during the fight with Ben, then I could see it being as like a side effect, or like a more serious injury than they all had thought. But this just seems out of the blue, so I'm not sure. But let's move on to predictions very quickly. Based off the promo for 417, it looks like Aurora wants Ken to return her brother to her, and in return, she will help him kill the Tribrid. It also seems like Hope is with Landon in London, or in Limbo, wow, before she goes back to the ferryman. And then we also see her back at school. And then I also saw Alaric talking. All right, we hear Alaric talking about preparing for a fight, but then we also hear Hope talking about how some battles cannot be won on your own. We also see Alaric going to talk to Ben in the school's cell cage thing. We also see Hope and Landon still in limbo together and being interrupted by the necromancer. Well, that's going to be interesting. I kind of hope it's Dark Hope being confronted by the necromancer, because then that's going to be an interesting confrontation. But then that would be like confirmation of like, oh, it's Dark Hope, but like maybe that's how they'll find out. Interesting, right? So there's that. But based off the synopsis for the episode, it reads that Landon finds his groove in Limbo. I think it should be as Landon finds his groove in limbo, he is faced with yet another surprise. Hope does some deep soul searching as Ethan continues to struggle and Lizzie steps in to help. MG finally divulges a long kept secret. Oh. Meanwhile, Alaric debates putting into action a precarious plan. What kind of secret, MG? Long kept too. It better not. They better not mean it as like long kept as in like 2 episodes. It better be like a really long kept secret if that's the case. Interesting. Well, Landon's surprise is going to be Hope in limbo, obviously, which would be connected to her deep soul searching, which makes me think that maybe it's not Dark Hope in limbo. But Ethan struggles. Yeah, that's got to deal with what was happening at the end of this episode. Interesting. All right. So that's all I have, though. But other updates, I really can't remember if I mentioned in the previous video, but confirmed that it's 20 episodes this season. We have with the season finale happening May 26, 2022. So hopefully won't have any more hiatuses until the finale comes. But the week before the season finale is when the CW upfronts happen. So if there is no news about season 5 renewal at this time, absolute latest I would assume would be at the CW upfronts is when we'll find out if. I really hope we get a renewal, because otherwise that would mean the following week's finale would be the series finale if there's no renewal, and I really don't want that. So fingers crossed. I'd rather have one final season where at the start they know it's the final season, they can actually put into steps instead of just being told with what is already written that would be the series finale. Please, please, one more season. I need a season full of many familiar faces returning. Please, please, please. But otherwise, I'm going to leave it at that. So what did you guys think of the episode? What did you guys like about it? What do you think will happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear your own thoughts, theories, and opinions about all that good stuff. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. Link for that is down below. I reblog promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all that good stuff, all found in one place. Go check that out. I am behind, but I feel like once the season is done, I'll probably just reblog all of it all at once in one go. So be on the lookout for that massive return there. WordPress account, link for that is down below. Anything I post online is connected to WordPress. A little more organized, a little more detailed, but still a work in progress as well. That's about it, guys. Also, a random question. How's the audio for this video? I got a new headset for work with included mic, so it's like more of a gaming headset now. So far so good for work, using it at work. So I'm wondering, how's the audio quality for recording for this? You let me know. But yeah, otherwise, guys, that is about it. It's about after 1 a.m. for me right now, so I really got to go to bed. I got work in the morning. But I hope you guys tune in next week to see what I have to say about the next episode. But until then, guys, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week, wherever you are. Please stay safe and have yourself a great day. Bye for now.